Many of the folks that I speak with are chomping at the bit to get started in real estate investing. However, not everyone has built a solid financial base to set them up for sustained success in this marathon game of investing. So today we're going to discuss how you can create a plan to help ensure that financially you're well qualified and well positioned to take advantage of the many wonderful loan programs available to investors. And it all starts with personal finance. Welcome to episode 2 of the Stacking Houses podcast, where we help working professionals create a solid plan B, a side hustle of passive streams of income through real estate investing. I'm your host, Damon Santamaria, and my goal for each show is to provide you with some practical and inspiring information so that you can create a solid financial plan for yourself. So to help you on your journey, I want to give you a free tool called the Personal Financial Statement, which my business partner, Jim Garvin, and I have put together, and it will help you highlight your assets and your liabilities, much like a company would. And I use this on a quarterly basis to help me, number one, better understand my own financial position and allow me to make goals where I want to be in the next 6 months, 12, 18 months. Additionally, the personal financial statement allows you to see yourself how banks and lenders see you as well. So this can certainly be an eye-opening experience if you haven't gone through this process yourself. And you can pick this up simply by going to stackinghouses.com/financial statement. And while you're there, you can also check out our free training on where we're helping other newer investors find great deals in today's landscape. You can also check out my blog and a bunch of other cool stuff as well. So with that, let's jump in. And I'm going to kind of tell you a story that when I was in high school, my parents would talk to me about the importance of saving my allowance and working for neighbors and getting a job to have money, spending money. And, like most teenagers, most of this fell on deaf ears until I needed that spending money. And when I wanted to get a new music album, a CD, or go to the movies with my friends, and I didn't have any money, then I would quickly ask my parents how to make $20 in an hour, right? And so my problem, like many people, was the need for instant gratification, something that plagues our society. We need to see it, we see it and we need to have it right now, right? So, and as I got older, I became a big believer in delayed gratification, resisting the impulse to act now for the promise of a larger reward in the future. And it works really well in so many parts of life. You think about studying hard so you can get a degree, saving money so you can pay for that new thing with cash and avoid years of interest charges on your credit card. Heck, save yourself for marriage? Wait, do people still believe in that anymore? I digress. But my experience is that the longer you delay gratification, the sweeter the reward is. And in college, I remember in a psychology class, our professor teaching us about the Marshmallow Experiment. I don't know if you've heard about the Marshmallow Experiment, but it went something like this. Many years ago, psychologists at Stanford University ran an experiment by putting kids in a room and placed a marshmallow or other treats in front of them. And they were told that they were allowed to eat the marshmallow or the treat. However, if they waited 15 minutes, they would be rewarded with a second treat. And the children that deferred that impulse, they were forced to think about other, more productive things, versus simply suppressing the urge for the reward. And it became a mental game of perseverance. And I can recall when I was younger, I had my own little marshmallow experiment at my friend Paul's house. And Paul was one of my best friends growing up. And his family were incredibly hardworking people. And Paul invited me over to his house, and on this day, I thought we'd be, riding bikes or playing video games. However, Paul's dad said that, if we did some yard work, he would pay us $5, right? And as I recall, growing up in Cleveland, Ohio, it was a cold, wet autumn day. And as the day wore on, I was regretting the deal that we made with his dad because it was just so painful. And finally, after several hours, everyone was exhausted and hungry. And Paul's dad agreed to take us to Burger King. And when we walked in, you could smell the burgers and the fries, and it instantly made us salivate. And Paul's dad kind of turned the tables on us at that point. And he said, guys, I'll give you the $5 that I promised you for working all day, or I'll buy you a combo meal. And this was a huge dilemma for me. And it was because I was about to pass out from starvation. But what I really wanted was the $5. And without hesitation, of course, Paul and his brother, ordered their Whopper meal. And I held out. I sat there and watched them scarf down their food with ketchup and mayo, dripping all over, all while his dad sat there and laughed. And everyone was done eating. His dad had seen enough. He was so impressed that I held out for the $5 that he not only gave me the $5, but he also bought me the combo meal. So I got both, right? And it was because I made a promise to myself that I was going to keep that $5. So how do marshmallows and whoppers translate to personal finance? Easy. You're making prudent decisions today, which will likely increase your chances for success tomorrow. And that's the theory behind a 401k, saving for retirement, setting up college savings plans, and buying real estate. You are delaying the value of today's dollars for the goal of multiplying your investments over the years. And the government realizes this as well, and it rewards this behavior through the tax code. Uncle Sam lets you avoid paying taxes while your money grows, right? That's the idea of a 401k, the retirement account, even a 1031 exchange. You can grow your money over time and delay paying taxes at a later point in time. And I think for many younger people that are eager to get started in real estate, they'll always ask me about my first deal, how I found it, how's it performing, etc. While it's a great conversation starter, my journey began 20 years before I bought my first deal, and it started by getting my financial house in order and establishing really good habits. Now, I also had really bad habits like buying things on credit that I spoke about in my previous podcast. If you haven't listened to that, go back to yesterday's episode. But hopefully, we form many more good habits than bad habits. Another concept that I think it's worth discussing is this idea of keeping up with the Joneses. And in today's world on social media, it can sometimes be difficult to avoid overspending on things that we simply don't need. We see someone on Instagram with their beautiful clothes, an awesome car, taking all kinds of exotic vacations, and we feel compelled to want those nice things as well. It's human nature. I fell into this trap about 15 years ago. I wanted this all-black Range Rover with black tinted windows, and this car was hot-ish, right? Everyone told me that Land Rovers were, always in the shop. My wife begged me not to buy it, but My ego was just too big. So against better judgment, I bought it anyway. And what do you know? There was nothing but problems. And as you may or may not be aware, Range Rovers have a sophisticated airbag type of suspension that's controlled by a computer system. Well, in this case, the computer system was a complete lemon, making this car, it would drop to literally no suspension while you were going down the freeway at 70 miles an hour. And this happened several times. And to make matters worse, my wife was 8 months pregnant on the last time it happened. And so needless to say, I had to trade in that POS 3 months later after getting it, and I lost thousands of dollars on the trade. And as I look back, I see that my ego led me down the wrong path. So I want you to think back at a time in your life, or perhaps a habit that you have that you know you can substitute for a better habit. Maybe it's related to personal finance, maybe it's related to spending, maybe it's simply related to how you view yourself. And I want you to ask yourself how you can replace it for more positive behavior. How can you improve your situation? And then commit to this new path each and every day, okay? The final concept that I want to discuss is the idea of perhaps putting certain money-consuming behaviors on hold for a bit. For some of us, it's the fact that we go to Starbucks every morning on our way into work. Some of us, it's eating out several times a week, and others have sports collectibles or other costly items that take money out of our bank accounts. And I would encourage you to resist that urge to overspend and perhaps cut away and trim some of the fat. And with that discretionary money, you might think about creating a separate savings account where you can earmark this for your first property. And in the next 6 months, I want you to funnel as much money as you can into this separate account. And before long, you're going to see thousands of dollars accumulate. For those of you that are really ambitious, you may even want to sell some of those items that you no longer need. Take this money and put it into your real estate account. And for those of you that really want to accelerate growth, see if you can earn a bit more money. Maybe it's working overtime, maybe it's Ubering, maybe you're in sales and you can take your commission check. And I want you to put all of this extra money into your real estate savings account. Anything that you can do to delay gratification today and build the balance will pay dividends in the future. So hopefully some of these ideas resonated with you. I'd love to hear some of the deals that you're working on. So hit me up at The House Stackers on Instagram or Facebook. And so as I mentioned at the beginning of the show, I know that for many of us, personal finance may not be the most riveting topic, but as you begin to check those items off your goal list, like acquiring your first rental property or your investment property, you start to get addicted. And I got bit by the bug early on after my first deal, and I never looked back. So hopefully you get bit by the same bug and it becomes your passion as well. So I'll kind of digress here. But I also want to set you up for our next show. And I will be interviewing my business partner, Jim Garvin, and he's going to discuss with us a property that he just acquired where almost everything was perfect, but there was one big stumbling block that almost kept him from buying this house. So we're going to discuss the decision tree of how he was able to evaluate and mitigate risk within his portfolio. So be sure to check that out. That'll come out on Friday, the September 10th. So look forward to that episode. And finally, as I mentioned at the beginning of the show, my goal is to provide you with some incredible value each and every show. So today's episode, I want to give you the personal financial statement, which will help highlight your assets and your liabilities. All you have to do is go to stackinghouses.com/financial statement, and you can download it there for free. You can also check out our free training and how we're finding real estate deals in today's landscape, as well as my blog. And until next time, this is Damon with StackingHouses.com. Happy investing.